Okay, guys, so I've just deleted that thing there of all the lists, etc., etc. So what I have got to do now is, well, what we're going to do now is we're going to put some if statements in there. Also, I do apologise for a hiccup or belch. I just had a bacon sandwich because it's brain food and not because that's a bullshit excuse to eat bacon sandwiches. Okay, moving on from that really quickly. Right, so we need to make a couple of Boolean variables. So bool, and then we'll say base found. And we're not going to define them because we'll define them within the program itself. And then say bool reverse. And another one, reverse pools. There we go. Right, now we do a couple of if statements. So the first one we're going to say argument is equals, that's double equals to check. Can't spell properly. Right. Now, if you've never done an if-then statement before, this double equals here, this says basically, is this true to? So normally, something on the left of the equals, you're making it what it is equal to the right of the equals. On this one, you're saying is what's on the left here equals to the one on the right. So it's a sort of conditional statement. And below that, I'm just going to say else if. Now, I always find that when you're doing these sort of things, it's easiest if you know what you're doing, if you have an idea of what you're doing for the layout of your conditional statements. It's always easier to put out the basic structure first. Just means that when you start getting into the sort of the meat of it, you can always find those basic bits that you set out, so you don't end up having to figure out which bracket is open and closed, etc., etc. Right, so the next thing we've got to do is we've got to define what is best output, and best output is equal to convert dot to decimal, and we want to find the information from solar info number 5. Okay, so we'll end that statement there. Right, now the next thing we want to do is we want to check, is this at a range in which we want to tell the base rotor to start moving around. So we go if, another if statement, best output is less than, and we say this is a decimal just to make sure, 115.00. So if it's lost 5 kilowatts, then this is when we want to do something. If not, then we just want to send check off again. So we need an else statement here. Okay, there we go. Right, so let's take that to there. Ooh. So if our best output is less than our decimal number there of 115, so less than 115 kilowatts, well, the first thing we need to do is set all of these things to false. So let's do this. And you'll notice here that true and false are lowercase. It's one of those strange things where it's actually lowercase where most stuff is uppercase. Reverse equals false. And reverse pools equals false. Right, and now the next thing that we want to do is we want to start the rotor arm moving. So we're going to do something we haven't done yet. We're going to say rotor base dot, and now get action with name, open and close brackets, on, off, underscore, on. So we're going to find the action, which is on, off, underscore, on. So on, off, just on, off with no underscore, that would be toggle the block on and off. So if it's on, turn it on. If it's off, turn it on. On the on, off, underscore, on or off, whichever one it is, that is specifically saying turn it on or turn it off. So in this one here, we don't have a way, we're not going to be checking if it's on or off, so we're just actually going to specifically define it ourselves. So when this check comes through, when it's not in the range we want, we turn it on. The final thing we say, apply, open and close brackets to rotor base. Now you can actually define these things beforehand and say, well, this is this and this is this. Personally, I just find it easier. This just kind of get it into your head how to do this. So once again, anyone who's watching this and you've got like good C# understanding or a good program understanding, you'll see there's a lot of stuff that I repeat that I don't need to. But this really is to help someone. This is aimed to be at anyone who has any experience or no experience. If need be, you could just copy what I'm doing on the screen here. Right, okay, so now the final thing we do, we need now to that was easy for me to say. We now need to turn on the angle timer because the check timer's gone off. We know we need to do it, so we get angle timer time dot get action with name start is the action we want to get in brackets there and quotations dot apply to angle timer. Right. So now when the check goes off, so when that check timer's gone off, if it's in the range where we need to change stuff, we set off the angle timer. But if it's not in the range, we want to set off the check timer again. So this time I'm going to go check timer dot get action with name, open and close brackets, start dot apply to check timer. Right. So now when we have this check timer go off, it will check, okay, are we at the range where we're happy with that? Yeah, okay, just check again in 30 seconds. If not, right, change that shit. Now we've done this. Now we checked when we need to. Now we've checked when we actually do need to change things. Now we go into the sort of meat of it. So the first thing we need to do is define a new variable. So we're going to say decimal output is equal to, and now what we're going to do is just going to copy and paste this bit here, and we're going to find the information again. The thing is, at this point, the base rotor would have been gone for 2 seconds. So we're not actually putting out exactly the same information. Because this would have been set off again, we would have got information again out of the solar. And now what we're doing is we're getting the information after 2 seconds. So now we want to see how that's changed. So the first thing we want to do is say if base found equals false. And we'll do some brackets there. And we will do an else statement because we're going to need that later on. Wow, there we go. Right, so base found is going to be when we've found the optimal place for the base rotor, then we start doing the arms. So first thing, we found the base. Right, okay, now let's find what that angle is. So now we say if reverse is equal to false. So the first thing we want to do, obviously, we want to send it the direction it's setting off at, and then if that's not so good, we'll go the other direction. So as you can see, once again, I'm putting in the statements first, the basic structure. Now we've got a couple more. We say if output, wow, can't type there, is greater than best output. So if the thing after 2 seconds is better than what we got 2 seconds ago, then make what our best is what we just found, basically. So here we go. So best output is equal to output, and then we want to check again after 2 seconds, have we got even better than that? So let's just grab this angle timer here and we will paste this on there. Okay, if it's not getting better, well then we want to reverse it and go the other way. Is it going better the other way? So let's do this. There we go. Right, so if it's going, if it's not getting better that way, we want to go reverse. So the first thing we want to do is we want to change that rotor base. We want to send it the reverse command. So we get action with name, open and close brackets, reverse, and we want to apply that to rotor base. There we go. Next thing we want to do is say, okay, reverse is now equal to true. So I don't want to come into this bit here again and make it think it's going in one direction. And there we go. Send the angle timer off. Okay, so now we won't go into this because reverse is equal to true. We'll go into this bit. Now, because we've sent it going one direction for 2 seconds, we've just set reverse on. We've sent it going back the other way, and we've only sent it for 2 seconds. We want to make sure it goes back the other way another 2 seconds. So we're just going to do basically an empty command. So what we're going to say, if reverse pulse is equal to false. Wow. And open and close those brackets there. then we're just going to make it true and go through again. So reverse pulls is equal to true, and set off the angle timer. There we go. Right, so once we've done that, okay, if it's now true, so that's our else there. Well, now we just see, is it getting better in this direction? So if output is greater than best output, let's open and close those. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to say best output is now equal to output, and set the timer off again. Okay. If it's not, then we want to turn this off, don't we, really? So we say else, because we've already gone one direction, we've got it as good in that direction as it's going to be, we're going back the other direction, we've now got it as good as it's going to be in the other direction. Let's turn it all off and start moving the ends of the arms. So first thing we need to do is turn off the arms. So rotor base dot get action with name. Ooh. Ah, really? There we go. On, off, off. Apply to rotor base. There we go. Now we want to turn the arms on. So arm1 dot get action with name. On, off, on. Dot apply to arm1. And let's just do that. I'm just going to paste the angle timer below, and we're just going to copy paste this here. Go down one. There we go. And we'll make that arm2 and arm2. There we go. Right, and now because we're going to need the reverse pulls and reverse again. We say reverse equals false, and reverse pulls is equal to false. But we don't want to come into what we just done there, so we need to make sure we don't do this. So we need to make base found is equal to true. Base found is equal to true. Right. So now we've got our reverse and reverse pulls have been reset, but our base found is true, so we'll go to this else statement here. Once again, we've already been going for 2 seconds. So all we need to do is say if reverse equals false. I will open and close that, and we'll put an else below that. So else. Right. Okay, so we're going the first direction here. Say if output is better than best output. I should make that the new variable. Right. If that's better than that, well, we make the best output to that. So best output is equal to output. There we go. And we want to set off the angle timer again. Okay. If it's not, then we want to reverse. Same as before. So what we can do here is we can just copy and paste. No, we'll copy and paste most of that. Paste it in there. Let's just delete all of that to there. We're going to have to change reverse, but we don't need to change either of those. So let's pull those out of there. There we go. Right, now we're going to make arm1 is reverse, and arm2 is reverse. Now you may panic here that if you're not applying it, you're not using them as a group, you're doing one at a time, that is going to be a problem. But the code here, the coding and the implementation of it is so fast, it really won't make much of a difference. But the other side of it as well, as long as you do it at the same order, then it will always be the same. So for example, say you've got arm1 and arm2 is the order you do it in. Start moving arm1, start moving arm2 at a set delay afterwards. Well, if you stop moving arm1 and stop moving arm2 at the same delay afterwards, as long as they've been going for the same time, the same delay and the same angle speed, they would always end up at the same orientation. Okay, so we now need to make reverse is equal to true. And we set our angle time off. Right. So now reverse is equal to true. So in this else, we need to do the reverse pulse. So if reverse pulse is equal to false. There we go. Right. And then say reverse... Oh, excuse me, a hiccup there. Is equal to true. I want to set off angle timer again. So let's just grab this. Go. And then we want to go into all the other stuff. We go else. Right there. Okay. Once again, if output is greater than best output, well, that sounded like, for a moment there, it sounded like the start of Serenity. Wash. Too soon. Okay, so I distracted myself. Best output is equal to output. Right, and then we set off the angle timer. There we go. If not, then we need to turn it all off. So, else. Open and close that. So, next thing we need to do is we need to turn the arms off. So if we've gone one way, it didn't work. Reverse the other way, we found the best thing. Well, now what we need to do is just turn these arms off. So on, off, off. And we'll do the same one with this. On, off, off. There we go. Now the final thing that we need to do is we need, once we've found all of that, well, we're going to be at a good angle, set the check timer off again. So here we go. Check timer. So let's check our code. Woo! There we go. I will point out that the first time I did this, yeah, I had so many errors because, well, to be honest, I made a really, really numbnuts mistake. Luckily, I haven't made it this time. Right, okay, so now it is ready to check. Now, I will point out here that what you want to do is you want to check that the solder panel that you're using, if you've done what I've done here and not put a different power source, you just use a perpendicular solder panel, you want to make sure that you haven't used a named panel is one of those perpendicular ones. But I happen to know that this solder panel 3 they're the perpendicular ones. I've also noticed here I did not call that angle timer. So here we go. That could have been bad, otherwise it wouldn't have set off. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to trigger that timer and jump out of my seat, and what we should see, as you can see, that's now starting to move. Where is the sun? Must be behind here. Okay, so it's now finding the optimum angle for the main arm. You see everything is getting better. Okay, so stop there. Alright, no, it hasn't stopped. My bad. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. I don't seem right, but now I will say the first time it will set off is it probably won't find the most optimal angle the first time, and you may find that if you chose, say, a not particularly great angle to set the program off at, it may take a couple of run throughs, but you can always just click trigger again. So as you can see here, is it hasn't found the best angle just because it was so flat. So the idea of this is once it's moving, it will keep going, but that's one of the things we pay for not having all those extra checks in there. So I'm just going to trigger it again, and what we'll notice here this time is that those main arms should actually move somewhat differently. And always a good way to check is what sort of shadow are we getting on that perpendicular one. When that shadow sort of becomes straight in the line with the arms, and it's lined up well with the sun. So there we go, it's lining up with the sun. As you can see, it should stop fairly shortly. There we go. And now... a little bit too far. Oh, that's because I'm not looking at the shadow. Right. Okay, yes. We want the shadow going directly down from there. Right. Let's go over here so we can actually see the angle that the arms start moving in a second. Now, once again, as you can see, it's just taken, it's taken a few runs through to get it right. This may... Ooh, that freaked me out there. Okay, so it stopped moving. Oh, no, it hasn't stopped moving. I always get confused when, yeah, this whole sort of moving in space thing. Right, so here we go. You see here, because it looks like it's stationary when I'm moving down, but as you can see, it's actually still moving. So like I said, as you see, it's the first time it's going to go through, is it will be a little bit finicky until it sort of gets to the max angle. It takes a little while. And one of the problems is because at the moment, as you can see, it's very flat onto the sun, so it doesn't really make a huge difference in which the angle of these solar panels are. So this will probably keep turning for a little while yet. There we go. Right, okay, so it's found what it thinks is the best angle there. And it'll start moving the arm rotors a little bit. So what I probably should start doing... Okay. See, one of the things, as you can see here, is, like I said, this is one of the things with the checks on it, and not doing all the checks. The first couple of runs through it will take a while to get that sort of, that angle perfect there. So I'll wait for that to stop moving. There we go. And now it's going to start moving the arms. Now obviously you can see it's obviously this direction that it's moving in is getting things better. So it's still moving. And basically you should see the shadows sort of starting to disappear. And once the shadows start disappearing on the actual blocks, that's when you know it's really got the sort of the angle zoned in. Right, so there we go. Went one way, found the best angle, stopped there. Right, okay, so it took a little bit longer than it should have really, but like I said, once again, that's just down to the sort of lack of checks on there. But now, if we go and have a look at what we're actually getting out of those solar panels, well, 118 kilowatts, and from that point in, it's now sort of zoned in. So from now on, every 30 seconds, it'll adjust if it's less than 115, and it will keep doing that. The station that I originally did this on, basically, I set it up once, and it's never stopped going. And I'll tell a lie, I did have a meteor strike once, so I kind of had to turn it off and rebuild everything. But then after that, it's not, apart from, meteor strikes, it's been perfectly fine. It's been no problem with it, and you don't have to go too advanced with it. I mean, literally... Essentially what we do there is we're defining the items, we're finding the information, and we're saying, okay, well, just do this logical progression of what is the best place, and eventually it will get there. And that's it, you don't have to go too detailed on that. Now, the battery side of it will have to be detailed because we'll not only have to do a lot of logical progression, but we'll also have to convert things, like we'll have to convert kilowatts to watts and megawatts to kilowatts to watts, just so that we can definitely tell what the ratio is of everything. We'll also then sort of have to iterate through things, but that's going to be, that's going to be the next tutorial. Anyway, guys, I hope that you found this useful. I hope that you will, have a go at this. If you come up with something better, awesome, post it up, help people out with this. I haven't seen many videos for this automatic solar panels, so it'd be really cool if, it sort of becomes a regular thing for people to use. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have fun. If you're doing geeky things, embrace the geek, do awesome stuff. Catch you all soon.